I do know that when you were little, you used to cry a lot when we had to drop you off in the daycare.
I still cry a lot.
To the point that one daycare refused to take you. Like, they just kept you for a day, and then when we went to pick you up, they were like, yeah, we can't have him here because he's crying all the time, and we have other children that we need to look after. He can't have our sole attention.
I'm a very emotional person.
And so we were like, okay, then he got kicked out of daycare.
My attachment to people, it's overwhelming. I think there's a fine line with attachment. I think attachment itself is kind of not reckless, but dangerous. Because behind attachment comes the expectations of what having those people constant in your life.
But are those spoken expectations? Are they hidden expectations? Are they just expectations that you maybe create in your head?
In the head, yeah, I think so. You know? Because I'm such an open person, and because I'm accessible. Mm-hmm. That's the word. I think it's very easy to reach me. Because I am so accessible to my friends and to people, I expect that of others. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I just gravitate towards people. And I think it really is because of you. Like, I confide in you so much. And growing up, I have trusted you with everything. Like, it didn't take long for me to start opening up to you, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think it was always that way. I think definitely middle school time was a very challenging time for both of us because, you know, I didn't know what to expect.
Right.
And you were just, you know, testing your boundaries and testing the limits of what you could and couldn't do. And
you mostly found out everything, though, too, sometimes. And then you would confront me, and I can never lie. Like, I can't lie. I just suck at it.
I would just find out things, and then I would just come to you and be like, look, you have a chance to come clean, so come clean and tell me what's going on. And I think from that, we kind of transitioned into just, I don't know, I know that I always wanted to be able to have a good open relationship with my children.
Yeah, because I don't think any parent desires to not have like an open communication with them, you know, or like to be unaware of what they're going through, challenges and successes.
But there's so many parents or so many people that I know that they can't open up to their parents, or they can't talk to their parents about hard things. And I always, not that I wanted to be my children's best friend, because I wanted my children to know that I was an authority figure in their life, but I also wanted my children to come to me rather than their friends, because I knew that what I would share with them would come from a more responsible and better headspace than their friends.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
And I think that was my main reason why I desire that. I desire to have a really open communication with all of you. And that was something that I strongly pursued. I made myself available. I wanted my house to be the house where everyone could feel comfortable, could feel welcome, could be invited to, could come hang out. And, you know, not to say that I was opposed if you wanted to go hang out at a friend's house, but if they could come over here, I prefer that even more. Yeah. You know,
that kind of relationship, or just that trust to be able to confide and talk about anything without there being some feeling of judgment or judgment look that free. Funny, you know?
Yeah.
And I admire that about our relationship, like being able to like you're right when you say like some people really can't go to their folks about certain things, or if they're curious about certain things, or even like coming out with their sexuality or anything like that. Like that's hard for some people, and for me it's just like, not that that's the case, but just like in general with anything, like, oh yeah, like this happened, I fumbled, or I'm dealing with this, or I'm struggling with this, and knowing that, like I said, you'll listen, you'll give your input, probably tell a joke for comedic relief, and then we usually pray, and then like things are just better, and like I feel more at peace because you do that. And to have that with other friends as well, I think is extremely important, because that's it almost feels like a family thing at that point. Like to me, like Marilyn is family. To me, Clarissa's family, and like I wouldn't want to have just like surface level friendships. And I think that's why like I'm so all in with my friends.
You're very invested.
Because I look at it in the perspective of like, are we not gonna have like a barbecue like in 25 years with some of us having kids or some of us not having kids, like I'm not gonna put no time limit on any of that, but like how are we not about to do that in this house? Like granted you guys don't sell it, but this is the house where everything happened, so that's what I see. And so that attachment is it's still a dangerous place, because that can also very much not happen. I'm constantly surrounding myself with people. Like I want to be around people because I feel like I'm uplifted when I'm around people. Like that's when I feel like I'm at my best. So when I'm not around people, like I feel like I start to decline. And so when I'm alone, I feel like that's when I'm overthinking the most. That's when insecurities creep up the most, or more frequently. I get afraid of like seeing people move on with their lives and me staying in like this place of being stuck. And then what happens when you're an adult and your adult friends get into serious committed relationships? They start to hang around with people who are in serious committed relationships. They start to do and pursue other things. Maybe they move in together, and then they move out of state. Maybe they got a job opportunity and that takes them to a different city. And for a while, like I felt like, okay, I've been working in my job for the last almost 6 years. There isn't any sign of change or other opportunities. I haven't also searched with extreme desire at the same time. Okay. So I will take fault for that, but it's just like a matter of coasting. So where I see everybody kind of moving on and branching out, moving out of state, I'm like, okay, like the circle feels like it's getting smaller and smaller. I feel like I have less accessibility to people. I didn't realize how impactful it was when Joshua went to college. I was just now able to get very close with my brother, and now he's going to school in Tallahassee. I didn't realize the impact with Mauricio leaving until like years later, when we both got to grow on our own. And I remember vividly the day that we went to his house to celebrate him and Crystal, going away and moving and getting into grad school. Just like that, like that was the last time we hung out. And then, losing a little bit of communication along the way, and then finally being able to reconnect a little bit better. Like I didn't realize, man, like I miss you. You really are like the older brother that I never had. And just like when people go through their own life experiences, like people become less available. And that in turn leaves me in a position of where like I feel like I'm missing out, that I don't get to do some of the things that I used to do. And maybe that connects back to like attachment a little bit, because you miss these specific things, these moments in time. Even not even my attachment to people, my attachment to things, like the house in Long Island. Like what is my obsession with trying to buy that house back? You know, but I'm so nostalgic, and I miss what it represents, and that's where I find myself.
Your childhood.
Yeah, I find myself missing things that represent a period of time. And that point in life was not like amazing. You know, I think life right now is amazing. I think I've definitely evolved into the person that I'm supposed to be becoming. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not there yet, but I'm on track. At that point in life where it's the same thing. The Long Island house was where all the barbecues were at. All the parties, all the get-togethers, the play dates, and we would just play Nintendo 64 with different friends, and it was just like a simple time, you know. And I look back and I just miss it.
So is it because you like what it represents as far as that period of your life where it was carefree?
Maybe. And now everybody has like responsibilities. Yeah, now we have responsibilities and bills and dealing with greater issues. Right?
Like, because of your age, you were so blind or protected from so many things happening.
Yeah.
That you didn't even realize were happening.
I remember so much about that. And just when we got the house got broken into like 3 times, you know. The last night we were at the house.
And you had to be so brave and get the baseball bat.
I don't know what I was thinking. Like,
I was scared. We were all scared, but we were like, there was so much, I think, expectation placed on you to like stand up and be brave, even though you were like 10. It's crazy. When I think about it, it's crazy.
Well, yeah, you were pregnant with Jacob.
Yeah. And there was I wouldn't have been able to do anything. Joshua was 6.
Yeah.
And we're all just like heading out in the hallway. And you've got the baseball bat. Like, I have no idea what you're gonna do.
Whack somebody. If it comes to it.
Yeah. I'm glad it didn't come to that. I'm glad there was nothing. Well, whoever it was gone by the time we headed out.
Yeah. Because the alarm went off.
But yeah, I think about it now, and I think it's so wild, like, to put all that pressure on you.
And that's why I've always had the pressure, man.
This is why. Now we know.
Probably.
This is where it stems from.
It really could be. I mean, you think about having to have it together at that age. Yeah. I mean, just being the oldest in general is kind of like a responsibility of just. You definitely don't want to be the mess up. Like, you don't want to portray this person who, I don't want to use like very specific examples because there's nothing wrong with dropping out of college, but like, you know, like that's not what I didn't want to exemplify that, you know, like for Joshua. I didn't let you. Or for Jake. Yeah, you didn't let me. I mean, I didn't almost drop out.
So many times you wanted to give up.
Definitely.
And I was like, nope, not allowed.
This could wait until
unacceptable.
Later. But, you know, something like that, and just having to not even set the bar, just make sure that, like, look, I did it. I figured it out. You guys can do it too. Like, the world is yours. And I'm also here to help you with the resources to get to that place.
Yeah. For me, when I'm feeling all over the place because things are happening that I have no control over, what helps me is just getting some music in me. And one song that really speaks to me, I know every time I tell you guys a song, none of you listen to it, but one more recent one is called Rest. And I think it's so appropriate because here you are running, here you are doing these things to try to like fight that feeling when all you need to do is rest.
That's the tea. But the point of this was to give some insight on my life, because not everybody knows about what I face or what I struggle with. But at the same time, like, I talk about some of these things with a lot of people, to be honest, but now it's just like in a more
broader,
it's more accessible. But like I said, my phone fell out. But like I said, I am accessible to people. So
this is vulnerability.
Vulnerability. Coined by Jamie Santiago.
Good talk.